And Kraft have finally struck a deal, but what does it mean for both companies? That's a lot of the questions being asked right now. Joining us this morning is Alison Stewart-Allen, Director of International Marketing and the Muse of Marketing. And thank you, Alison, for being here. It was 1 week ago that we were talking about this. Looks like, obviously, it's a done deal. Good deal for Kraft?
I think Kraft should be pretty happy because they got the prize that they've been pursuing for the last 6 months. And clearly in the marketing program that the chief executive had here in London with the institutional investors over the course of the last week, she clearly sold her case very well for why Cadbury should fit in the Kraft portfolio.
Now, they paid reportedly $8.40 a share with a 10p special dividend. A lot of the big institutional investors in the Sunday papers this past weekend said they would accept nothing below £9 a share. So it's quite a lot less interesting.
Yes, it is. And some of these institutional investors, the chief investment officer, in fact, of one of these biggest funds, this morning on the radio was talking about why he chose to agree the deal. And mostly it was because he thought now was the time to strike, that while you have the opportunity to be acquired by Kraft and make your shareholders money, you strike while the iron's hot.
But Cadbury was doing fine by itself. It has a very good business model. It's doing very well in the emerging markets. It's an iconic brand. What are they going to get out of this? There's concern that Kraft will come in and do a lot of asset stripping.
Yes. Well, and there's a lot of pressure on Kraft to actually be able to fund this acquisition. And one of the only ways that they're going to be able to fund it is to either, continue being excellent at their marketing and, give birth to many more brands and up the pipeline of new products and introduce new things, but also manage the cost side. And one of the concerns here is that workers are going to be shed, factories are going to be closed, the quality is going to be downgraded, all to meet the cost-cutting measures.
And do you think that is a likelihood?
It's a possibility. Every acquisition always has some degree of integration and cost out, if you like. So it's certainly possible.
And on the morning shows, I know you're listening to the radio and the TV this morning, a lot of very nationalistic comments being made, selling an iconic brand, a sad day for England, selling out to a plastic cheese company.
Well, we had this also a few years ago, though, when Nestle bought Roundtree, another British chocolate company, bought by Swiss, this time bought by Americans. And the issue really here is the fact that consumers and the British public at large know that Cadbury stands for a place, and people want to connect with something local, and the fear is that this local brand is suddenly going to become an international, bland, no meaning connection for people.
Now, didn't Kraft buy Terry's chocolates too? And since that point, a number of years ago, there's basically no production left in this country, so that's kind of a bad precedent to set.
Yes, and that's part of the concern as well. And also Bourneville and what Cadbury represents around its social, community-based philanthropy. It looks after its workers. It has an ethos and a philosophy that's very tied to the place.
10 seconds. Where does this leave Hershey?
Well, Hershey have a small chance of still coming in. But it's a very small chance because, in a way, everybody has already said publicly this is a done deal. But, the ink isn't quite dry yet. And that final offer from Kraft today means that even though it's a final offer, if Hershey come in at a higher price, it's perfectly reasonable that it could be accepted if it's a better deal.
It's not over yet, as they say.
It isn't quite.
Alison Stewart-Allen, as always, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.